Hey, and welcome to Baking with Chickens, the show where I bake using eggs from my backyard chickens. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make 10 super cool, creative things with your leftover cake scraps that are not freaking cake pops. It's gonna get funky, so get ready.
This is really freaking cool.
It's cake scrap time. If you want to read more about these, grab the link in the description below from my blog, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. One of these was a total wild card, harebrained idea experiment. Guess which one it is. Let's go. Bok bok bake! These ice cream cake bonbons are actually my favorite of all of them. So the first step is to crumble up your cake into tiny crumbs and then just toast them on a pan over the stove with no oil, just dry, until they're a little bit light and toasty. Now, scoop your ice cream into little balls onto a sheet of parchment paper, and then I pop them back into the freezer so that they can chill while I prep the crumbs. Now I'm throwing in some rainbow sprinkles because why the hell not? And then I'm gonna roll the little ice cream balls in the cake crumbles and the sprinkle mix. I'm using chopsticks because, I don't know, I just like using chopsticks, but a spoon also works really well. So roll them around, get them nice and coated, put them on the pan, and then just pop them back in the freezer until they're nice and stiff to eat. I also thought that some melted chocolate drizzled on top would be really nice, but my chocolate chips are a little stiff, so I added coconut oil to thin it out so it's more like magic shell, and I'm gonna drizzle it on top.
Faux shizzle on the drizzle.
Booyah! Another great one, cake biscotti. You know, biscotti, those Italian cookies that are really great with coffee and tea. So you're gonna slice your cake pieces so they look like biscotti, put it on a baking sheet, and then bake it in the oven on low at 275 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes. You wanna flip it partway through baking so that it'll evenly crisp. Pull it out, cool it. See, it's nice and crisp. And then you wanna dip it in some chocolate. So I'm melting some chocolate here. And then I'm gonna grab my biscotti, dip it in, cover it nice and yummy. You can use white chocolate, dark chocolate, whatever you want. I have some crushed pistachios and I'm gonna chop them up and sprinkle them on top of my biscotti because you know what? Some pistachio on top of biscotti with chocolate sounds delicious. Yum, yum, yums. Cake pie crust, you're probably thinking, Christina, you're crazy, but this is kind of awesome. It's just like a graham cracker cookie crust, except with cake crumbs. So the first step here, melt some butter. I don't have a microwave, so I'm melting it in a pan, putting it into this little bowl, and then I'm going to scoop up some cake crumbs and then mix in that butter so it's nice and incorporated. Mix, 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 mix. I'm gonna add a little sprinkle of sea salt to give it some extra flavor. I'm gonna put those crumbs into a pie pan and then smash them into the pie pan, either using a measuring cup or using your fingers. And then put it into the oven, bake it at 350 degrees for 7 to 10 minutes until it's nice and crunchy, and then take it out and chill or store it in the freezer. Now I'm gonna make an ice cream pie, and you can fill your pie with pretty much anything. Pudding, custard, whatever you have, so as long as it's non-bake. Now I'm gonna top my ice cream pie with some strawberry puree and whipped cream, and of course, a little more salt. Next up is an ice cream cake sandwich. I know this kind of seems basic, but it's delicious. So you're gonna take a little cookie cutter, cut out some little rounds, scoop some ice cream, and then sandwich in between. Smash it together. Ta-da! And if you really want to get fancy, roll it in some sprinkles or chopped nuts or chocolate chips. I mean, the whole point of this is to use whatever you have laying around. I have lots of ice cream. If you got frosting, make yourself a frosting sandwich.
I would like a dirt sandwich.
Yes, pickleberry or a dirt sandwich. Cake bread pudding, another no-duh dessert. Cut your cake pieces into little cubes and then spread them out all over a pan and then arrange them and pop them into the oven at 300 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes and bake until they're dry. Let them cool, and in a smaller bowl, crack 1 egg and add in your choice of milk. Any milk is good. You can use whole milk, oat milk, almond milk, whatever. Mix it all together. Add a couple pats of cinnamon. Mix it together again, stir, 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 add some salt, stir, stir, stir some more, and pour it all over your cake cubes. Now let those cubes sit and soak in all of that good liquid for a little bit while you prep everything else. If you've got some fruit or chocolate laying around, those are great add-ins. Butter a ramekin dish so it won't stick. Add in your soaked cake cubes, layer in some fruit, maybe a handful of chocolate, layer on more cake. Squish it all in there, hold it down, decorate the top, and then I like to add some coarse sugar on top. That just kind of gives it a little crispy top. Put it on a baking pan on top of a piece of foil so it doesn't leak. Bake it at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes until it's hot and bubbly. Now you've got delicious cake bread pudding. Tiny mini cakes. So if you're like me and you make these cakes, but you rarely ever get to actually try these big cakes that you're making. So if you have cake scraps and leftover frosting or fillings, this is the perfect opportunity to make yourself a teeny tiny version of it. I'm gonna cut those cakes into little circles, spread extra frosting, spread any fillings. Make sure you make it the same number of tiers. I had 3 tiers, so same thing. And then just spread the frosting around like you normally would, except tiny, like a cake for chickens, but not for chickens because chickens shouldn't eat cake. I have this extra Pocky. Whatever you got laying around in your pantry, crush it up and then just roll your cake in it. That's it. If you have any mason jars or glass jars of any kind, just stuff some of your cake scraps into the bottom, put a little spoonful of frosting. I'm sprinkling some dried rose petals here to use like sprinkles. If you have any fresh fruit, that'd be great to jam in as well. Put in another layer of cake, more sprinkles, another layer of frosting, more sprinkles, put a lid on, and then you've got cake in a jar to go. No cake gone to waste. Cake Sundae. This recipe is going to use those toasted cake crumbs again to give it a nice texture and mouthfeel. Add in some rainbow sprinkles because ice cream goes great with rainbow sprinkles. Mix it all together, and if you've got some nuts, chop them up. I'm using chopped almonds. Grab your ice cream bowl, mix in some cake crumbs, add in your scoop of ice cream, and then cover it with cake crumbs, just like your favorite frozen yogurt place. Cover it all up and drizzle it with chocolate syrup. Add in some bananas if you got some or any other kind of fruit. Top it with whipped cream and there you go. It's an instant banana split. I'm using a lot of ice cream, but ice cream and cake is delicious, so it is what it is. Cake shake. When in doubt, drink your cake. But we're gonna make it with a fancy rim. So I'm dipping the rim in some chocolate and then into this, I'm calling it the graveyard sprinkles. I've used all of the cake crumb sprinkles and crushed cookies and candies that I've used in this entire episode, dipped it all in and made it pretty. So now you're gonna add in all your cake, scoops of ice cream, some milk, and if you wanna add a little splash of booze, I'm not gonna judge you. Blend it and ta-da! That's really good. Grilled cake. This was a Mr. Baking with Chicken's idea, and this is why he is not allowed to be in charge of recipe development here at Baking with Chickens. But even though this looks like a burnt hamburger bun, this led to the waffle cake, which is the greatest invention we've ever come up with. If you've got a waffle iron at home, bust it out, take all of those little cake scraps you have and smash them inside that waffle iron. Fill it up as much as you can. Press it down, wait until it's golden brown, and poof! You've got a cake waffle.
It's really good. It's like that crispy on the outside cake that's like right when it's fresh and hot out of the oven. And it's like nice and soft and cakey on the inside. This is really freaking cool.
The first one we made with the cake crumbles, but this one we're just gonna use the whole slice of the cake top and waffle it. So have you ever wondered, will it waffle? I think about that all the time. And the answer is yes. Yes, cake will waffle. But here's my tip. Actually using the smashed cake bits turned out way better than just the whole cake top.
All right, we're done. It's 10 different things that you can do with leftover cake scraps. We have destroyed our entire kitchen making these today. See, no mother clucking cake pops. Why does everybody like cake pops? So I hope you found something super awesome in here that you're gonna try next time with your cake scraps. And stay tuned for the next episode where you're going to see the giant version of my Pocky cake. And I'm really excited to try one of these. Ooh, wow, that's really good. It's really melty, so it's even better. I hope you really like this episode of Baking Chickens, and there's probably shit all over my lips, but thank you for watching this ridiculous, crazy episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye!